Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm food fanatic chef Matthew Dean, and today we're going to walk through some great ideas for your Lenten menus. And the first thing we're going to dive into is going to be a blackened catfish, perfect for an entree or a sandwich, but we're going to use Monarch blackening seasoning, all the flavor that you expect without the heat of a traditional Cajun seasoning. The first thing we're going to do is start a saute pan, medium-high heat. We're going to get some oil in there. I'm actually just using a canola oil and some butter. That butter is going to add to the flavor. I'm going to add in this catfish fillet with that seasoning side down, and then just give the pan just a little bit of movement. That's going to help it keeping from sticking to make sure that we get that really nice color that we're looking for as it's sauteing. Now I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning here to the other side of that fillet, and I don't care if some of that seasoning gets into that oil. That's just going to bloom out and add more flavor in it. You're going to see why that's important. Once that tail starts to curl up, I'm just going to carefully flip over our catfish fillet and continue to cook it. So what we're really looking to do is to get a nice sear. I don't want this to get black in that burnt look. And then see how I take the spoon there. I'm just basting the fillet with that butter and the seasoning, just giving it more flavor. You can also use the swirling pan method to do just that as well too. So you're looking at probably about 3 to 4 minutes aside at the most. And you can see here, this one is completely done. It's just a beautiful fish. It's gonna have a nice amount of flavor, and it's gonna be nice and moist on the inside. For the next one, we're gonna do a salmon fillet, and I'm using our Monarch garlic and herb seasoning because there's no salt, there's no MSG in this. It's just gonna give us some really good flavor. Again, in the saute pan, medium-high heat. I have the oil in there. I got my butter in. Again, butter for the flavor. You're gonna let this warm up, and then I'm gonna take that salmon fillet and we're gonna gently place that into the pan to start getting that sear on that side. Now I like this dish. This is great for an entree. You could also turn this into like a BLT sandwich as well too. So we're gonna turn that salmon fillet over and we're gonna continue cooking the other side. I'm not gonna fully cook this. I want this to be just kind of getting to that medium well phase, and cooking it in the pan does a great job with this. You can see this is just a really, really nice coloration on there, but it's kind of drying out on top. That's why I'm basting it with this butter from the pan. We're getting that on top. It's going to keep more flavor on the top. It's going to keep it from drying out throughout the cooking process. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some sauce to the pan. This is going to be a spicy honey salmon, so I'm adding our Monarch spicy honey sauce in with that butter and the oil, and this is starting to hit that heat. It's going to all come together, and it's going to end up making a phenomenal glaze. So what we're going to do again is we're going to baste it with the sauce, and it's going to start coating it, getting that flavor all around it. And the extra seasonings that was in the pan, that's now all bloomed into that oil, the butter, and that spicy honey sauce, making this a really, really beautiful glaze. So this comes together right here. We can just take this out of the pan. I love using this type of fish spatula when working with seafood. It really does make a big difference. But the spicy honey sauce is also great for other sauces that you can use across your menu. For the third menu item we're going to do a pecan crusted whitefish. So we're going to start in a Roku food processor, some pecans, and we're going to get them ground up real nicely. Just need to run it for about maybe 15-20 seconds till they're chopped up. And what we want to do is we want to start breaking these down. Now you can toast these up ahead of time. That's going to give you a little bit more nutty flavor, but it's not necessary because this is going to go into the oven. I'm adding in some of that garlic Romano seasoning. I also have in there some of our garlic and herb seasoning, and then Parmesan cheese. There is no right or wrong ratio on this. I here did 1 part pecans to 2 parts Parmesan. Put that back into the food processor and let that all blend together. This is going to make our really nice crust. As you can see, it's nice and fine, and it's going to adhere to with our breading process. So on a sprayed baking sheet or a broiler pan, you could do parchment lined as well too. Just make sure to spray it really well. We are going to set our filet on there. The first thing I want to do is I want to add more of that garlic and herb seasoning. Again, this is no salt, there's no MSG in there. It's just going to give us flavor. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on there. The next thing is we need a binding agent, and I really like using a nice thick mayonnaise. This is our Chef's Line mayo. Just going to do a smear across the top, and that is going to help our breading stick on there. So I get a nice thin layer on this, and then we're just going to pick this up and we're going to actually press this into our breading mixture. Now we're just doing the one side. You could do 2 sides, but the bottom side isn't really gonna fully cook, as it's gonna stay soggy. So I figured just the presentation side is all we need to do. That's gonna go back onto our greased broiler pan. This will go into the oven, 450 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes, depending on how big your filet is. So here's our catfish sandwich. We have a nice spicy coleslaw on top of that, and that's on a grilled Bianco bun. Just a beautiful sandwich to make a great entree. And then here's that spicy honey glazed salmon. We have some roasted baby red potatoes with some nice garlic herb seasoning and some creme fraiche and a little poblano pesto. And then here's that pecan parmesan crusted whitefish. Did a lemon piccata hollandaise and put some roasted tomatoes on there on some beautiful Brussels sprouts. These are shaved Brussels sprouts that we just tossed in some seasoning and some oil and roasted off in the oven, and they can just be reheated in the saute pan real quick to order. So just a really beautiful dish here. You can actually turn that into a sandwich as well too, but I think the noble call out is any fish fillet that you can think of or that you like to cook with, whether it's pollock, tilapia, barramundi, the catfish. You can do all these dishes with all of those fillets and really create a diverse menu offering. For more great ideas, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for Chef Matthew Dean. And if you want to reach out direct, matthew.dean@usfoods.com. Here's a look at the products that we used today, but you can always reach out for more great ideas. So for now, I want to wish you all good cooking, and thanks for spending time in my kitchen.